Welcome to today's cybersecurity training session. My name is Shelly Davis, and I'll be guiding you through this crucial topic. Cybersecurity is not just the responsibility of the IT department. It's something that every single one of us needs to be aware of and actively participate in. Today, we'll cover the fundamentals of cybersecurity and discuss how you can help both protect our company and yourself from cyber threats. Why cybersecurity matters. In today's digital age, nearly everything we do involves some form of technology. From sending emails to handling sensitive customer data, our work depends on secure systems and networks. But with this dependency comes risk. Cybercriminals are constantly evolving their tactics, and the impact of a cyber attack can be devastating. It can lead to financial loss, damage to our company's reputation, and even legal consequences. So, understanding and practicing good cybersecurity is essential. The cyber threat landscape is vast and continually changing. Threats range from phishing emails, which trick you into giving away sensitive information, to ransomware, where attackers lock down your files and demand payment for their release. Then there's malware, social engineering, insider threats. The list goes on. The point is, cyber threats can come from anywhere and in many different forms. That's why it's so important for us to be vigilant and informed. In this slide, I would like to discuss with you the human factor. Here's a key point. The most sophisticated cybersecurity system in the world can be undone by a simple human error. A click on a malicious link, a weak password, or even leaving your computer unattended can open the door to attackers. This is why cybersecurity is as much about people as it is about technology. By understanding the risks and following best practices, we could significantly reduce the chances of a successful cyber attack. As employees, we all have a role to play in maintaining cybersecurity. It's not just about protecting the company's data. It's also about safeguarding our customers' trust, our colleagues' information, and even our own personal data. Throughout this training, we'll explore practical steps you can take to protect yourself and our organization from cyber threats. So, what will we cover today? First, we'll dive into the types of cyber threats you're most likely to encounter. Then we'll discuss best practices for securing your devices, recognizing phishing attempts, and creating strong passwords. We'll also talk about what to do if you suspect a security breach and the steps you can take to report it. I encourage you all to stay engaged, take notes, and think about how you can apply these practices in your daily work. Remember, cybersecurity is a team effort. By working together, we can help keep our company and ourselves safe from cyber threats. Let's get started. The first attack I want to discuss is ransomware. In my opinion, this is one of the most pressing attacks currently affecting companies today. I want to emphasize the importance of putting systems in place to protect against this attack immediately. Before I tell you what ransomware is, I want to ask you about a possible scenario your company could face today. What would you do if you arrived in the office opened up your work laptop for the day, found that you couldn't access any of its data. Most people say they would look to their coworkers to open their laptop and see if they could access the data. What if your coworkers couldn't access the data on their laptops? Many folks answer and say they would try to access their data from their cell phone. But what if that wasn't an option because you couldn't access the Google Drives, emails, or any other data resource because all the passwords have been changed and now it's encrypted by a threat actor? That scenario we just discussed is a version of ransomware. Let's start with the basics. Ransomware is a type of malicious software that encrypts the data on a victim's computer or network. Once the data is encrypted, the attacker demands a ransom payment in exchange for the decryption key. Imagine trying to access your business files only to find them locked behind an impenetrable wall with a message demanding payment in cryptocurrency to unlock them. That's ransomware in action. Why are businesses targeted? You might wonder, why do businesses like yours become targets? The answer is simple. Data, data, data. Data is very valuable. For many companies, losing access to their data can bring operations to a grinding halt. Attackers know this and exploit it. Small to medium-sized businesses are particularly vulnerable. They often lack the advanced cybersecurity infrastructure of larger corporations, making them an easier target for cyber criminals. Ransomware comes in different forms, but here are the most common types. Crypto ransomware encrypts valuable files and data, making them inaccessible. Locker ransomware locks the victim out of their system entirely, preventing any use until the ransom is paid. Scareware tricks victims into believing their computer is infected with the virus or has been compromised in some other way, prompting them to pay for cleaning it. Understanding these types will help you recognize potential threats more quickly. Ransomware can infiltrate your business in several ways. Phishing emails, the most common method. An email with a malicious link or attachment is sent, and once clicked, the ransomware is installed. Malicious websites. Visiting compromised websites can lead to automatic downloads of ransomware. Remote desktop protocol attacks. Attackers exploit weak passwords and outdated software to gain unauthorized access to your systems. Knowing how ransomware gets in is the first step in keeping it out. The consequences of a ransomware attack can be devastating. Financial loss. Ransoms can range from a few hundred to millions of dollars. Even if the ransom is paid, there is no guarantee you'll get your data back. Operational downtime. While systems are locked, your business grinds to a halt, affecting productivity and customer trust. Reputational damage. News of a breach can damage your brand's reputation, leading to lost customers and revenue. The impact is far reaching, which is why prevention is critical. Prevention strategies. So, how can you protect your business from ransomware? Here are key strategies. Regular backups. Ensure you have regular automated backups of all critical data. Store these backups offline to prevent them from being targeted by ransomware. Email security. Implement advanced email filtering to detect and block phishing attempts. Educate employees on how to recognize and avoid phishing emails. We will also discuss phishing in this training. Patch management. Keep all software, including operating systems and applications, up to date with the latest security patches. Access controls. Limit access to sensitive data and systems based on role. Use multi-factor authentication whenever possible. Incident response plan. Develop and regularly update a ransomware-specific incident response plan. This should include steps to isolate affected systems, notify stakeholders, and recover data from backups. By implementing these strategies, you reduce the risk of a ransomware attack and ensure you're prepared if one occurs. Now let's discuss what to do during an attack. If a ransomware attack does occur, here's what to do step by step. Step 1. Isolate the infection. Disconnect affected devices from the network immediately to prevent the ransomware from spreading. Step 2. Notify your IT team. Alert your IT department or managed service provider as soon as possible. The quicker they respond, the better. Number 3. Don't pay the ransom. I repeat, don't pay the ransom. Paying the ransom doesn't guarantee you'll get your data back, and it encourages more attacks. Instead, focus on recovery from backups and investigating the breach. Step 4. Report the attack. Inform relevant authorities such as local law enforcement or cybersecurity agencies to assist in the investigation. Quick, decisive action can mitigate the damage and lead to a faster recovery. Now, let's look at a real-world example. In 2017, the WannaCry ransomware attack affected over 200,000 computers across 150 countries. The attack targeted a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows, which had a patch available, but many businesses had not yet applied it. The result? Massive disruptions to healthcare, finance, and government services worldwide. The lesson here is the importance of patch management and quick action to secure your systems. In closing, ransomware is a serious threat, but with the right knowledge and preventive measures, you can protect your business from becoming a victim. Remember, it's not a matter of if, but when an attack might happen. Being prepared is your best defense. This next section, we will discuss the best practices for cyber hygiene. The topics we will cover are password management, two-factor authentication, regular software updates, patch vulnerabilities, and secure web browsing. Let's begin with the importance of passwords. We're going to focus on one of the most fundamental yet critical aspects of cybersecurity, passwords. While it may seem like a simple topic, weak or compromised passwords are still one of the most common ways that cybercriminals gain unauthorized access to systems and data. Let's talk about why passwords are so important and how you can make yours stronger. Passwords are the first line of defense in protecting your accounts and sensitive information. They act like the key to your digital life. Whether it's your work email, personal banking, or social media accounts. Without strong passwords, cybercriminals can easily break in and exploit your data. A weak password is like leaving the front door of your house wide open. And here in the United States, we've seen several high-profile breaches, like the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, where compromised credentials played a role in enabling the attackers. Now let's discuss why cybercriminals want your passwords. Cybercriminals want your passwords because once they have access to your credentials, they can log into your accounts as if they were you. This opens up all kinds of opportunities for them, stealing money, accessing sensitive company data, or using your email to send phishing messages to others. In some cases, hackers even sell stolen passwords on the dark web. The ripple effects of a compromised password can lead to major disruptions for both individuals and companies. Common mistakes with passwords. One of the biggest problems we face is that people often use weak passwords or reuse the same one across multiple accounts. Passwords like password123 or ABC123 are easy for attackers to guess. Additionally, using the same password for both your work and your personal accounts is risky. If one account gets hacked, it puts all of your accounts in danger. Real-world consequences. To give you an idea of the real-world consequences, let's look at some recent incidents in the United States. According to a report by Verizon, 81% of hacking-related breaches involved either stolen or weak passwords. Whether it's small business or a large corporation, we've seen firsthand how a single compromised password can lead to massive data breaches, regulatory fines, and loss of customer trust. It's not just the big companies. Individuals and smaller organizations are often targeted too. So, how can you create stronger passwords? First, use a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Your password should be at least 12 characters long, and it shouldn't include any obvious information like your name or birth date. If you're worried about remembering complex passwords, consider using a password manager, which can generate and store strong, unique passwords for each of your accounts. Tools like these are becoming more common and are an excellent way to improve your security. On top of creating a very strong password, I also highly recommend you enable two-factor authentication whenever it's available. Even if someone gets a hold of your password, two-factor authentication, also known as 2FA, requires them to provide an additional verification step, such as a code sent to your phone or an authentication app. This extra layer makes it much harder for attackers to break into your accounts. At the end of the day, it's up to each of us to ensure our passwords are secure. This means creating strong, unique passwords for every account using 2FA or multi-factor authentication whenever possible, and being cautious about how you store your passwords. The responsibility to safeguard sensitive information starts with us. By taking these steps, you're making it much harder for cybercriminals to succeed. To recap, passwords are a critical part of cybersecurity because they are often the gateway to sensitive data. Weak passwords or reused credentials can make you a target for cybercriminals. But by using strong, unique passwords and enabling 2FA or multi-factor authentication, you can greatly reduce your risk. Make password security a priority and encourage others to do the same. The next topics we will discuss are software updates, patch vulnerabilities, and secure web browsing. What are software and patch updates? Patches are software and operating system updates that address security vulnerabilities within a program or product. Software vendors may choose to release updates to fix performance or security bugs, as well as to provide enhanced security functionality. How do you find out what software updates you need to install? Vendors display updates on their official websites or app stores. Install updates as soon as possible in order to protect your devices. Most vendors offer automatic updates for your convenience. Only download software updates from trusted vendor websites. Do not trust email link software updates. Only apply automatic updates from trusted network locations like home or work. Attackers take advantage of system vulnerabilities for up to months and years. Some software will automatically check for updates. Many vendors offer the option to receive updates automatically. I recommend you take advantage of automatic updates if they are made available. If automatic updates are not available, periodically check your vendor's website. Do not trust links in an email message. Attackers use emails to direct users to websites that host malicious files disguised as legitimate updates. Be suspicious of files that are emailed that claim to have an update file attached. Do not do updates on public Wi-Fi locations like the airport or coffee shop. If you must do an update, use a VPN connection. Now, let's discuss end-of-life software, known as EOL. EOL is software that is no longer supported by its developer or vendor and will not receive updates, patches, or security fixes. Continued use of EOL software poses consequential risk to your system that can allow an attacker to exploit security vulnerabilities. I highly recommend that you retire all EOL products as soon as possible. There is so much to discuss when it comes to web browsing, but for the sake of time, we will cover the most important aspects that could impact your organization greatly. The risks of insecure web browsing, how to recognize secure websites, safe browsing habits, and what to do if you encounter a suspicious site or link. Let's start by talking about the types of threats you might encounter when browsing the web. It's important to be aware of what's out there so you can recognize risky situations. Phishing. Phishing attacks are when attackers try to trick you into giving up sensitive information like usernames and passwords by posing as a legitimate entity. They usually come through emails or fake websites that look real. Have any of you ever received an email that looked legitimate but felt off? Okay, malware downloads. Clicking on an unsafe link or downloading a file from an untrusted source can lead to malware infecting your device. Once malware is installed, it can steal your data or give attackers access to your system. The third one we will discuss is man-in-the-middle attacks. When you browse over unsecured networks like public Wi-Fi, attackers can intercept the data you're sending, like passwords or credit card numbers. This is why using secure connections is critical. How do we know if a website is secure? It's simpler than you might think. Look for HTTPS and the padlock. Always check the website address at the top of your browser. Does it start with HTTPS instead of HTTP? The S stands for secure, meaning the site is using encryption to protect your data. Also, look for the little padlock icon next to the URL. Checking digital certificates. Most browsers let you check a website's digital certificate, which verifies its authenticity. If you're unsure about a site, click on the padlock and review the certificate. Avoiding spoofed websites. Attackers often create fake websites that look like legitimate ones to steal your information. For example, you might see a facebook.com with 3 O's instead of a facebook.com with 2 O's. A slight spelling change is a major red flag. Always check for oddities in the URL before entering sensitive information. Next, let's talk about browsing habits that can put you at risk and what you can do to browse more safely. Don't click on suspicious links. If you receive an email or see a pop-up with a link that you weren't expecting or from an unknown source, don't click it. Instead, hover over the link to see where it's actually taking you. If it looks suspicious, don't interact with it. Avoid downloading files from untrusted sites. Downloading software or files from unfamiliar or untrusted websites is a common way for malware to get onto your system. Always download from official sites or known distributors. And if in doubt, ask IT to verify the source before proceeding. Don't use public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Browsing on public Wi-Fi without protection is risky. Attackers can easily intercept what you're doing. Always use a VPN, a virtual private network, when using public Wi-Fi to secure your connection. Let's dive into the settings in your web browser that you can adjust for safer browsing. Update your browser regularly. Cybercriminals exploit vulnerabilities in outdated browsers. Always keep your browser up to date with the latest security patches. Most browsers will update automatically, but it's good practice to check periodically. Enable pop-up blockers. Pop-ups are often used for malicious purposes. Make sure your browser's pop-up blocker is turned on. You can also configure your browser to block third-party cookies and insecure content. Use browser extensions carefully. Only install browser extensions from trusted sources, as malicious ones can put your entire system at risk. Review your installed extensions regularly and remove ones you don't use. So, what should you do if you accidentally land on a suspicious site or click on a bad link? Close the browser immediately. If a site looks suspicious, close the browser window right away. Don't click on anything and don't enter any personal information. Run a security scan. After closing the site, run a full antivirus scan on your computer. This will help identify and remove any potential malware. Report it. Always report suspicious sites or potential threats to IT immediately. The sooner they know, the faster they can respond and protect the rest of the network. Before we wrap up, let's recap the main points we covered today. To ensure secure web browsing, always verify the security of websites by checking for HTTPS and valid digital certificates. Avoid clicking on suspicious links and downloading from untrusted sources. Use VPNs on public Wi-Fi and keep your browser updated. Report any suspicious activity immediately to IT. Remember, secure browsing is not just about protecting yourself, it's about protecting our business too. Together, we can create a safer online environment for everyone. Our next topic is email and internet safety. We will cover recognizing phishing emails, spotting suspicious links, attachments, and spoofed domains, safe downloading practices, ensuring that files come from reputable sources, social media awareness, risks of oversharing, and how attackers use social media for reconnaissance. Let's discuss spotting suspicious links and attachments. One of cybercriminals' most common and successful tactics is to disguise dangerous links. One way to protect the company and yourself is by checking links before you click. Here's what you need to do. Hover, don't click. Before clicking on a link in an email, hover over it with your mouse. Look at the URL that appears. Does it look like the correct website? For example, if you see something like http amazon.com without an O instead of https amazon.com with an O, that's a red flag. Look for subtle misspellings, extra characters, or odd domain extensions like .xyz or .info. You also want to look for shortened links. Be cautious with shortened URLs like bit.ly. While these links are commonly used, they can also be hiding malicious sites. If you are unsure, use a service like URL Void to check if the link is safe. Recognizing suspicious attachments. Cybercriminals often use malicious attachments to spread malware. Before you open anything, ask yourself, did I expect this email or attachment? If it's unsolicited or from an unknown sender, don't open it. Check the file type. Dangerous file types include .exe, .bat, .zip, or even documents like .doc and .pdf if unexpected. If you weren't expecting this file, it's better to ask the sender before opening it. Watch for urgency. If the email creates a sense of urgency, like you must click now to avoid losing access, it's often a trick to get you to act without thinking. Let's discuss identifying spoof domains and phishing scams. Phishing attacks often come from email addresses or websites that look legitimate but are slightly off. Let's talk about how to spot them. Domain spoofing. Attackers will create websites or emails with addresses that are almost identical to real ones. For example, you might get an email from support@paypal.com with 2 L's instead of the official paypal.com with 1 L. One extra letter can make all the difference. Look carefully at the domain name. Official businesses won't use random domains like Gmail or yahoo.com for official communication. Safe downloading practices is key to protecting your company and data from malware. We often download files from the internet, but not all files are safe. Here are a few best practices for downloading files safely. Only download from trusted sources. Always make sure that the website you're downloading from is legitimate. Avoid downloading files from pop-ups, ads, or unsolicited links. Stick to official websites and verified app stores like Google Play or the Apple App Store. Check for HTTPS. Always make sure the site uses HTTPS encryption, which ensures the connection is secure. You'll see a padlock icon in the browser bar next to the URL if it's secure. Use antivirus software. Run scans on files before opening them, even if they seem legitimate. Your antivirus software can detect malicious downloads that may not be immediately obvious. Social media is a fantastic tool for staying connected, but it can also be a goldmine for attackers. Oversharing personal or company information can make you a target for social engineering attacks. In the next slide, we will discuss what is social engineering. What is social engineering? Social engineering is when attackers manipulate people into giving up sensitive information. They might use what they learned from social media to impersonate someone you know or craft a convincing phishing email. Avoid oversharing. Here are a few examples of oversharing that attackers can exploit. Your location. If you're traveling and post it online, someone might take advantage of your absence. Your job title and responsibilities. Attackers can use this information to craft a spear phishing email targeted specifically at your role. For example, if you mention handling finances, they may try to trick you with a fake invoice or bank request. Project details or company information. Avoid posting details about ongoing projects, company strategies, or confidential data. Attackers can use this information for corporate espionage or insider attacks. Here are the key takeaways for email and internet safety. Always hover over links before clicking to verify their legitimacy. Be cautious with unexpected attachments or emails, especially if they create urgency. Check email domains and look out for subtle misspellings or inconsistencies. Download files only from trusted sources and always verify the site's security. Look for HTTPS. Be mindful of what you share on social media, as attackers can use even small details to launch attacks. In conclusion, by practicing email and internet safety, we can reduce the risk of cyber attacks and keep our company's data safe. Remember, cybersecurity is a shared responsibility, and your vigilance is key to protecting both your personal information and our business. Our next topic may not be as fun and exciting as social engineering, but it's the most essential in cybersecurity awareness. Data protection and backups are the parachute that will save your most valuable asset, the company itself. In today's digital world, your business data is one of its most valuable assets. But what happens if that data is lost, corrupted, or held hostage by ransomware? Without proper backup solutions, it could be devastating. In this session, we'll explore why data backups are crucial and how small businesses can protect their critical infrastructure. Why backups matter. In 2023 alone, nearly 60% of small businesses that suffered a data breach went out of business within 6 months. Why? Because they didn't have a solid backup strategy in place. Losing access to your data can halt operations, damage your reputation, and lead to significant financial losses. Backups are your safety net. They ensure that even if you experience a data breach, hardware failure, or accidental deletion, you can quickly restore your information and keep your business running. Let's discuss some common types of backup solutions available for small businesses. Local backups. These backups are stored on physical devices such as external hard drives, network attached storage, or local servers. There's also cloud backups. Data is stored off-site in the cloud, making it accessible from anywhere and offering protection even if your office hardware is compromised. Hybrid backups. Combining local and cloud solutions offers redundancy, ensuring multiple layers of protection in case of failure in one method. There's also something called the 3-2-1 backup rule. To make sure your data is protected, many experts recommend the 3-2-1 backup strategy. So, 3 copies of your data, 1 primary and 2 backups. 2 different media types, store backups on 2 different types of media, external hard drive and cloud. The other is 1 copy off-site. Ensure at least one backup is stored off-site, like in the cloud, to protect against physical threats like fire or theft. Following the 3-2-1 rule ensures that no matter what happens, you have reliable copies of your data available. Another important decision is whether to automate your backups or handle them manually. Automated backups. These run on a set schedule, ensuring your data is backed up regularly without requiring any action from you. Automated backups reduce the risk of human error and ensure that the backups happen consistently. Manual backups give you control over when and how your data is saved, but rely on you remembering to perform the task. The risk is that in a busy business, it's easy to forget. Let's talk about the best practices for backup security. While backups are essential, they also need to be secured. An unsecured backup can become an easy target for cyber criminals. Here are some best practices to keep your backups safe. Encrypt your backups. Ensure your backup data is encrypted, both in transit and at rest. Restrict access. Limit who can access your backups to prevent unauthorized tampering. Test your backups regularly. A backup is only as good as its ability to restore data. Make it a point to test your backups periodically to ensure they're functioning properly. Use multi-factor authentication. For cloud backups, always use MFA to add an extra layer of security. Recovery planning. Even with backups in place, you need a clear recovery plan. In the event of a data breach or hardware failure, how quickly can you restore your operations? Having a documented disaster recovery plan ensures that everyone in your organization knows what to do in case of an emergency, minimizing downtime and financial impact. In conclusion, data backups are not just nice to have. They are a critical component of your overall cybersecurity strategy. Protecting your business's future starts with safeguarding its data today. Talk to your IT team or cybersecurity provider today about implementing a robust backup strategy and give your business the protection it deserves. Our last and final topic is physical security and cybersecurity. Physical security barriers are essential in any organization. Physical security is the first line of defense for protecting information systems, networks, and data. Cybersecurity is irrelevant if anyone can walk into the server room and steal or damage the server. If an attacker gains physical access to a device, they can bypass many cybersecurity defenses. Businesses like yours face risks such as theft, tampering with hardware, unauthorized access to servers, routers, or sensitive documents. Another risk to companies like yours are insider threats. Insider threats aren't always malicious. Sometimes an employee unknowingly puts the company at risk. A layered approach is the best way to address physical security and cybersecurity. Some of the ways you can implement these security controls are access control. Limit who can enter sensitive areas through key cards or PIN codes. A strong lock on the door is a simple but effective way to prevent breaches. Monitoring. Use cameras, motion sensors, and alarms to detect unauthorized access attempts. Device security. Ensure devices are locked with passwords, locks, or safes when not in use. If someone walks into your office and accesses a computer, they can steal sensitive data or introduce malware. Environmental security. Protect critical areas from environmental risks like fires, floods, or power surges. I recommend secure fireproof boxes or storing important documents off-site. Devices like security cameras, smart thermostats can be vulnerable if they are physically accessed or tampered with. These devices are called IoT. Teach employees to secure IoT devices by placing them in controlled areas, changing default passwords, and regularly updating firmware. In closing, it's best to provide employees with clear, actionable steps. Here are a few more best practices for employees. Visitor protocols. Require all visitors, including contracts, to sign in and to be accompanied while on the premises. Lock workstations when away and use screen privacy filters in public spaces. Keep devices secure and ensure all devices are stored securely at the end of the day. Report suspicious activity. Encourage employees to report any unusual behavior, such as people accessing areas they shouldn't. Always question someone who seems out of place or who doesn't have proper identification. Foster a workplace culture that prioritizes physical security. Regularly train employees on security best practices. Encourage them to be proactive and report potential security threats. Recognize and reward individuals who demonstrate a commitment to maintaining security. Congratulations on completing your cybersecurity training. My name is Shelly Davis. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns at shellyethical10@gmail.com. All right, it was so nice to meet all of you. Take care and be well.